First of all, let me thank the Almighty God that He has answered part of our prayers by removing the former Chief Executive Officer, Bella Kyari, who had served for more than the required number of years in the public service. Of course, the law is very clear that you either serve 35 years or you are up to 60 years, you must retire. And since NNPC is a public institution, that law must apply. But it got to a time when Nigerian government under Buhari refused to really apply the law, and that led to the agitation. And we thank the Almighty God and even thank Mr. President for at least listening to the voice of reasoning by retiring or removing Bella Kyari. The second issue is we had agitated that somebody from Niger Delta in the system, not just any person from Niger Delta. We want somebody trained by NNPC who knows the operations of the NNPC to be the GMD of NNPC. That he did not do. Rather than doing that, he went and brought a Yoruba man who is not part of the NNPC, who is not part of the oil producing area, to be the GMD. The implications are too grave. This man does not know the problems of an NPC, and they may not also know how to go about it. As we speak, the refineries, the way I know refineries for the past 30 years, there are no expatriates running the refineries, the three major refineries in Nigeria. They were all run by Nigerians, and most of them are retired. And we need fresh hand to take over the refineries. Either you train them or you engage people to train them so that they'll take over the refinery. He may not be aware. We are talking about reserve. We have enough reserve in this country. And we are talking about fossil oil is going, they want to change it with greener energy. And you need somebody who can go into proper seismic operations, data, and exploration of this production of this oil and export. So we need somebody from Niger Delta who understands what happens to the environmental hazard, the air pollution, the pollution of our land, pollution of our river, and the community, so that we can work in synergy to be able to produce enough of this oil for the benefit of the country. The country needs a lot of revenue. We are indebted, and so Niger Delta is not against production of oil, but we need somebody who will understand us, who will partner with us, who will be able to regulate these laws, because most of the problems we have today, even if you give us a minister of state, those ministers are not powerless. The GMD is more stronger than the minister of state that we have. So we are the system that give us a GMD who grew up in the system, who understand the system, so that you will not import people, strangers to the system and dilute the system. Today, Bella Kyari has run down an NPC. And NPC used to be a very dynamic and strong industry. It was stronger than even Shell. But today, NPC, we own 60% of all the oil companies in the country. It's run like a small one-man business. Whereas we have laid down procedures. In the NPC, we have the process of procurement. We have the SBUs have the authority. The NPC as a body, as a corporate body, have the authority, and things are run without interference with every other person, and they can say this is functions. We want our refineries back. We need somebody, an insider, who have a little idea of refinery operations, who will be able to know that yes, these are things that are required to run the refinery, not somebody who is going to learn on the job. And this process you are bringing has never been in the upstream, in the downstream sector. At worst, is in the upstream, and to the level of his upstream involvement, we don't even know whether he was in the production or he was only in the office. So we're not too happy with the new appointment. And let me also advise him, the new appointee, if you want to be there, you should not think of bringing people outside the NNPC. There are a lot of Nigerians in the NNPC, particularly the Niger Delta people in the NNPC, who have grown to the position that they can manage even NPDC, the retail that we have expatriates to run, and other SBUs. We have other SBUs under the NNPC, and our people who are trained, who are mature, who are good enough, are not allowed. Just, there is a lot of victimization within the NNPC circle under carry. Most of the Niger Delta people were not promoted, neither were they given offices. They were just placed in such a manner that they cannot be useful to themselves. The only one is salary, and that is end. That is not what we want. Niger Delta want to fully participate. This energy is coming from us. You are building gas pipeline from here, from Bayelsa to Morocco. You are building another pipeline from Warri to North Africa, and all is to supply oil, the gas to the international market. And what benefit are we getting? You are talking of 30% derivation. 30% derivation is only on oil. What about the gas that you are exporting from here? You are exporting so much gas through this pipeline to the foreign countries. What about the LNG? What about 30% on LNG? These are things we are not getting. So we need a Niger Delta who understand the NNPC process to protect our interests. Because as it were now, we are just taking our oil and gas without any protection of the region. Look at the oil companies, they are also misbehaving because they are not from this place. Our environment is totally polluted. You are now thinking of, oh, it's oil bunkers, oh, you are talking about pipeline vandalism, you are talking about oil theft. Who are those doing it? These are the same persons who have made all the money and they are not from Niger Delta. They only put small oil in the mouth of few Niger Delta youths who are hungry. So we want to see that this industry is well regulated and our people are really engaged. So we're happy that the Belekere is gone, but we are not happy that our people are not used. The government is not considering our people for this juicy appointment, and that is quite unfortunate. And it's a very long time we have called Niger Deltans, oil-bearing communities, people becoming the GMD of an NPC.
Is there any guarantee that Niger Delta would have done better? And what do you think so?
We had that experience. Chamberlain Oyubo was one of the Niger Delta. His regime was one of the best in NNPC. Dakuru was a Niger Delta. He also had a very good regime. We had Lolobare, who was also from Niger Delta, Adams. These are people who grew, who built up NNPC because they have passion and they have interest of the region. And so NNPC grew to become an Iroko tree. Now that NNPC is an Iroko tree with a lot of fruits, we are not longer benefiting. So we want our people who are experienced to run it. What Belekere did, anybody from Niger Delta who gets to that rank, he retire you before your time. He does not want to go, but he wants to retire people who have not served 35 years, who have not served up to 80 years. He will just be retiring prematurely. That's what he did to Niger Delta. Yet we still have people in the system who can handle that position.
Now back to River State. Could you assess the performance of the sole administrator so far?
Well, before we talk about the sole administrator, first of all, was the appointment constitutional? The answer is no. I want to read the constitution for you because people don't understand what this law. The constitution is the fulcrum of all the laws in Nigeria. And if you look at the constitution very well, look at section 1, the opening paragraph, opening section of the constitution. It is very clear. Chapter 1, General Provision, Part 1, Federal Republic of Nigeria's Constitution. Section 1.1 says, this constitution is supreme and its provisions shall have binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federation, throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 2. The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall not be governed, nor shall any person or group of persons take control of the government of Nigeria or any part thereof, except in accordance with the provision of this Constitution. 3. If any other law is inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall, to the extent of that inconsistency, be void. Now, these are the opening paragraph of the Nigerian Constitution. And the Nigerian Constitution is very clear. You cannot take over government other than the democratic process. What happened in Rivers State was a military coup staged by the President of Nigeria, which is contrary to our laws and is an impeachable offense. He has infringed on the Constitution, and if we have a National Assembly that is empowered by the law in the same Constitution in Section 2, they would have been the persons to look at it and say, Mr. President, you have committed a crime, and start thereby making a move for his impeachment. Now, that apart, the law is very clear that what they did is contrary to the Section 1 of the Constitution. Now, in Nigeria, the same section tells us that we have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And Rivers State is one of the 36 states, which means it's supposed to be governed democratically. You have now removed Rivers State out of democracy. Are you saying Rivers State is no longer part of Nigeria? Are you removing us from Nigeria so that we can fight for our independence? These are things Mr. President should let us know, because what he has done is not acceptable. And I believe that the International Criminal Court of Justice, the ICC, in Hague is watching. I believe ECOWAS is also watching. I believe AU is watching, and the United Nations is watching. What they are trying to do here is to cause a genocide, is to cause problem so that they can kill people. We have states, look at what is going on in Plateau, that requires state of emergency. You did not declare state of emergency. What is going on in Borno requires state of emergency. You did not declare state of emergency. What is going on in part of the West requires state of emergency. You are not doing it. Even the killings, you do not declare state of emergency. Here that is peaceful, for the past 1 month, you cannot say there is any fight, there is any threat, that is nothing. But I will come back to Section 305. Whether Mr. President comply with Section 305. Let's go to Section 305 and see what the law says. Section 305, which Mr. President relied on, reads, these are called Part 2, miscellaneous provisions. 305.1, subject to the provision of this Constitution, the President may by instrument published in the official gazette of the government of the Federation issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the Federation or any part thereof. The President shall immediately after the publication transmit copies of the official gazette of the government of the Federation containing the proclamation, including the details of the emergency, to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, each of whom shall forthwith convey or arrange for a meeting of the House of which he is President or Speaker, as the case may be, to consider the situation and decide whether or not to pass a resolution approving the proclamation. The President shall have power to issue a proclamation of state of emergency only when the federation is at war. That's 3A. B, the federation is in imminent danger of invasion or involvement in a state of war. C, there is actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the federation or any part thereof to such extent as to require extraordinary measures to restore peace and security. D, there's a clear and present danger of an actual breakdown of public order or public safety in the federation or any part thereof, requiring extraordinary measure to avert such danger. E, there is an occurrence or imminent danger or the occurrence of any disaster or natural calamity affecting the community or a section of the community in the federation. F, there is any other public danger which clearly constitutes a threat to the existence of the federation. G, the president receives a request to do so in accordance with the provision of subsection 4 of the Constitution. And what does subsection 4 say? The governor of a state may, with the sanction of a resolution supported by 2/3 majority of the House of Assembly, request the president to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the state when there is in existence within the state any of the situation specified in subsection 3, C, D, and E of this section, and such situation does not extend beyond the boundaries of the state. 5, the president shall not issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in any case to which the provision of subsection 4 of these sections apply, unless the governor of the state feels within reasonable time to make a request to the president to issue such proclamation. If you go through all this, you will see that Rivers State did not fall within these provisions. And section 305, as you go down, did not give power to Mr. President to suspend an elected officer, either a governor, deputy governor, or member of the House of Assembly. That also an infringement of the Constitution of itself. Now, the Constitution is very clear as to how a president can be removed from office, how a deputy president, a vice president can be removed from office. Likewise, how a governor and a deputy governor can be removed from office. And these are in section 188 and section 189. Section 188 empowers the House of Assembly to investigate and ask the Chief Justice to set up a committee to see if he's guilty, and where he's not guilty, if the committee says he's not guilty, that ends the matter for the period of that period. If he's guilty, then they can follow the due process to impeach him. Section 189 talk about infirmity. If the president or governor is not stable, they have a problem, is incapacitated, then the executive can now set up a committee, doctors, including his own doctors, to review his health and say he's not fit to become a governor or deputy governor. None of this section empower Mr. President to interfere in the removal of the governor. Having said that, Mr. President went against the Constitution, he defaulted the Constitution, he has impunity to do whatever he likes, and appointed a sole administrator. There is no provision in our Nigerian Constitution that guarantee or make provision, that statement, where a sole administrator can be appointed. So the sole administrator in Nigerian Constitution does not exist. And the law is very clear, tried law is very clear. You cannot put something on nothing. You cannot throw something on void, it will come down. So whatever the sole administrator is doing is void. Now, sole administrator, they said 6 months. 6 months, you are coming there, you are dismantling the structures of the governor, constitutionally elected governor, and you are appointing Wike's men to take over the structures. What are you coming to do? You want to oppress the man? It is very obvious and clear that they have spiritually bound the governor, make him not to be able to speak, make him to be docile, so he cannot do anything, and they can now do whatever they like. But this is a country and it's a state. You cannot use voodoo to do that to the entire state. The state have a law, the country have a law, and this speaks for itself. So we are looking at judiciary. The judiciary is supposed to be the third arm of government that's supposed to interpret the law as it is. But these days, the judiciary has compromised to an extent that they no longer look at the law. They look at technicalities. The law is not followed, and so anybody can commit any crime and use technicalities, and the person is free. What are we trying to do in the society? We are trying to tell the society that there is no law to obey. We are trying to tell the society, if government does not obey the law, how can the society, the public, the citizen, obey the law? Don't forget, under democracy, government is owned by the people. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people owns the democracy. And if we are not obeying the law, which makes you president, is the same constitution that provides that there shall be a president and the procedure how a president should emerge. The same constitution provides a condition how a governor shall emerge. The same constitution provides how a minister can be emerged, how an attorney general can be emerged. That same constitution, which is the fulcrum of all the laws, you disregarded it as Mr. President. And you will not expect the Nigerian population to obey the law. It is not done. What the Mr. President is looking for is anarchy. He's calling for civil disobedience, that there is no law to obey. And if they do that, and Rivers people fall into their trap, they will now commit genocide. Why are they interested in Rivers State? Rivers State is one of the most populated states in the Federation. It is the economic nerves of the country, and so if they destabilize Rivers State and anything happens, it will favor them in a way. But anybody who destroy your home for benefit of whatever you will get, you must come back home. By the time you come back home, you have nowhere to stay. Nobody, no government lasts forever. We have seen presidents come and go. We have seen governors come and go. We have seen ministers come and go. So the likes of Wike, we thought, or we thinking that, oh, they have power. You have no power. Power is in the heart of God. And so Nigerians are not happy that their president is not respecting the law. And I want to use the opportunity to call the International Court of Justice, the International Criminal Court of Justice, in Hague, to beam their satellite. We have problems in Nigeria. Look at what happened in Jos, Plateau State, just recently. These are the area that falls within Section 305. You did not declare a state of emergency. Look at what is happening in Yobe. Look at what is happening in Sokoto. Every day, people are being killed. There's imminent danger. You did not declare a state of emergency. Rivers State, that is very peaceful because you serve a character like sin. You can do whatever you like because you think you have hypnotized them and they cannot say anything. What is happening in Rivers State is a graveyard peace. We have graveyard peace in Rivers State. So the sole administrator should realize that he has no legal standing at all to spend Rivers people's money. He has no legal standing to dissolve democratically elected structures in the state. And let me remind him, if they don't know, their target is to conduct a local government election so that they will plant wicked people against the government. Section 28 of the Electoral Act is very clear. For you to conduct an election, you must give a notice of 360 days. Let me possibly, I will read it for you to know what Section 28 says. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm an activist. As an activist, notice of election. The commission shall not later than 360 days before the day appointed for holding of an election under this act publish a notice in each state of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, stating the date of the election and appointing the place at which nomination papers are to be delivered. The notice shall be published in each constituency in respect of which an election is to be held. In the case of by-election, the commission shall not later than 14 days before the date appointed for the election publish notice stating the date of the election. There shall not be submission of candidates in the by-election except where a candidate of a political party in the by-election dies. The party shall submit to the commission the name of a substitute candidate within 7 days of the death of candidate in the form prescribed by the commission. The Supreme Court has given judgment nullifying the election that was held. And therefore, for you to conduct another election, you must give a notice of 360 days. Except they are telling us that this 6 months is a gimmick. They are trying to play on Nigeria intelligent, unintelligent and rivers people for a sole administrator to appoint another electoral commission. This is a commission that is a constituted commission. It's not a commission that was just appointed. It went through the House of Assembly, approved by the House of Assembly. Under the previous government. And so for you to now say you are removing it, you don't have power. These are statutory bodies and they are tenured. You are removing a university board or council. University, the independence of the university is very clear. The moment the board is appointed, the governor or the president have nothing to do with the university except the council. You came in and you are dissolving all that. You are appointing local government administrator when the Supreme Court has ruled that nobody should head the local government except elected representative. You can see that these are people who don't obey the law of this land. They think they can do anything and go scot-free. Nigeria is too big for that. Whatever you do, you will pay for it. That's a day of recording. Even if you think you have all the powers today, you cannot stay forever. You will be called upon to answer for what you have done. And sole administrator does not have any power. The president who appointed him does not have power to appoint him. So, and they have already infringed on section 1(2) of the Constitution. And therefore, they should be very careful. Now, let's also look at Mr. President and the Supreme Court. We have separation of power. The Constitution is very clear. There should be 3 basic organs of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. Each of them are independent of the other. Supreme Court, which is the highest court in Nigeria, the Constitution gives them power to be the final arbiter. They gave an order that River State government should not be paid until they pass a budget. They present the budget to the House of Assembly. That budget has not been done. The governor has made every effort to present that budget, and the budget was refused. In collaboration of Mr. President and Wike, encouraging the members of the House of Assembly not to open the doors for that budget to be presented. And you declared an illegal state of emergency a coup and force the Accountant General to default the Supreme Court order to say you should release money to the sole administrator, who is an alien to our constitution. This is not right. Mr. President, what you have done is wrong. And you are not above the law. Nobody is above the law. The law says everybody must subject itself to this constitution. And so if you are Mr. President, you will not be president one day. You will go. One day you will go. Except you want to change the law to perpetuate yourself in power forever. And if that is what you shall plan, Nigerians are watching. Because what is playing out today is a demonstration that this government might perpetuate themselves into power. They will not even obey the constitution as to tenor. And they are going to be very brutal. The way they are going shows they will be very brutal with Nigerians if Nigerians says otherwise. And we are not sure what kind of election they can conduct if they are not obeying both the Electoral Act and are not obeying the constitution of the land. And this will not augur well for this country. The European Union should watch it, because when trouble starts in Nigeria, people will come flood the European Union. ECOWAS countries will suffer the worst. Nigeria with our 200 and something million. If there's a problem in this country, they will all flood the West African countries. UK, who is our traditional fathers, they will all move down in America. And if America is the police of the world, they should not look at this thing as a minor thing. This is a major breach of the Constitution. It's a major issue that can trigger any crisis. Sim is peaceful. Sim does not want to make problem. He has asked everybody to keep quiet. Does not mean that Rivers people cannot react. Because it will get to a point when the water will get to their neck, they must fight for survival.
What are they doing now? What are Rivers people?
We want to prove a point. Rivers people
are doing.
Rivers want to prove a point that there was no need for state of emergency. The whole world has seen that there was no need for this illegality. The whole world have seen that what they have done, Rivers people are wise enough to tell the world silently that there is no need at all. There's no call for state of emergency. It was a political manipulation to take over a government by force, a democratically elected government by force. And these are the things the world is against. When military takes over, we all shout. And the constitution is saying, even the military cannot take over. And you, a civilian president, you are doing what the military wants to do, what the military normally does. It's wrong. It's not acceptable.
Now, sir, the House of Reps, Tuesday last week, constituted a committee led by Professor Julius Ihoberry. Do you think the National Assembly, this National Assembly Committee, can be able to check EPOC, EBA's excesses?
To start with, when the foundation is wrong, everything is wrong. The Constitution is very clear under Section 305 that when you declare a state of emergency, you will transmit to the National Assembly. And National Assembly, I will go, that's under Section 305, says there must be a quorum. There must be a quorum, which you must physically count the people. We have 109 members of the National Assembly at the Senate, and we have 344 in the House of Rep. These are members of the National Assembly, and the both houses must have a minimum of 1/3 to assemble to look at the matter. And when they want to vote, 2/3 will vote in support of the resolution. Yes, the National Assembly would do not even look what was sent to them in the Gazette. If the National Assembly is a sincere assembly, they will query that issue of suspending the governor, which is unconstitutional. they know that this is purely unconstitutional. First thing is to expunge it. And also ask questions if truly there is the need for state of emergency. But that was not the case. The Constitution did not make provision to say you must have a voice vote. It's not so. Constitution did not say there must be voice vote. There must be a quorum and two-thirds must vote, which means you must count. Vote must count. I'm coming. You see, when you sold off your right, your birthright, what else can you do? When they had time to bite, they could not bite. Now they want to check. What are they checking? They want to check about aim, so that an illegal body before the law should come and be accountable to them. Does it make sense? You do not say this body is illegal. You cannot work with an illegality and ask illegality to give you account. When you allow a thief to come and thief in your house and they want you to come and share booty with you, does it make sense? It does not make sense. So the National Assembly themselves, they are guilty. And I can tell you, the thought is going to be in River State. Mr. President can dissolve the National Assembly. And the law says the moment National Assembly is dissolved, you are no longer a member of the Senate or member of the House of Rep. So what happens if Mr. President wake up one day and say you are dissolved the National Assembly? Is it where they will fight? If you don't put this constitutional framework right, these things are possible things that can happen. Mr. President can sack any governor who is not a member of his party. And it will make a reference to what happened in River State. And this is why Nigerians must stand up against this illegality. And that is why we are talking against this illegality. If by the version of the Constitution, same chapter 1, if the National Assembly is dissolved, they are no longer a member of the National Assembly, except another election is conducted. So if Mr. President gets up in his madness and says, look, National Assembly dissolved, what happens? They will now come and look for what? So if you are seeing a black cat in the daytime, you better catch him before night. We are seeing danger in Nigeria. The way this government is going, there's danger in Nigeria. Now it's River State. They wanted to do it in Bayelsa. When Wike said he wants to go there, he would have gone there and see what would happen to him. Diri is not like the same. Diri said, don't come. And if you dare it, anything can happen. And when it happens, who are you going to blame? You see, we must be careful. People are out to prevent problem for this country, and we are watching. We are creating trouble that will be bigger problem. If Rivers people are not patient to prove this point, that look, this thing they are doing, they say legal. And we start to now fight. They say, oh, there was crisis before. But now it is obvious. The whole world have seen that there was no crisis in River State. And there was no need for this thing. My advice to Mr. President is to turn back quickly. Correct himself. If he doesn't correct himself, this thing will haunt him throughout his life. It will not only haunt him, it will affect his entire family. It will affect his entire family. Because a bad name goes down to generation upon generation. And it will not just affect them. When his tenure is over, he will be called to account for it. And I can assure you he will be jailed. Let him buy everybody he's buying. He's buying everybody in the judiciary. The judiciary will one day get up to clean himself. The judiciary in Nigeria is the worst judiciary we have in the world. And we are telling the world that there is no justice in this country. How can investors come in to invest when they cannot trust their judiciary? The National Assembly has also proved to the world that they have no teeth to bite. So how can they make laws when they cannot even protect the law that they made? So we are in a big problem in this country unless something is done. And if things continue, what happened in Chile will happen. People will get up one day and the country will not be the same. You can open all the floodgates of your prison yard and Nigerians are willing to enter the prison and the prisons will be full and you cannot imprison everybody. Nigerians are patient, but time will come when you continue to push them. When you push them, they will revolt. Because hunger is there and you are still doing things. Look at what same has been developing in River State. Every part of the state you see construction, things going on, you want to slow it down. And we suspect, because Tinubu, 1999 when they came, Lagos and River State were apart. But one way or the other politically, Tinubu tried and attracted all the oil companies to Lagos and leaving River State where we are. And now a young man has come to develop River State, you want to shut him out. So River State should be poor and everybody comes to Lagos. Everybody comes, we are Jakaband. That is God. That is the Lord of justice. This Lord of justice will one day prevail. One day prevail. We are not barbaric. We are not going to be violent as you expected, but constitutionally this matter will be pursued. And like I said, the ICC should beam their light in Nigeria. Amnesty should beam their light, Amnesty International, their light in Nigeria. ECOWAS should beam their light in Nigeria. European Union should beam their light in Nigeria. African Union should beam their light in Nigeria, because what is happening shows that Mr. President is not fit to be the chairman of ECOWAS if he can dismantle democracy in his country. He has no justification to attack those countries that stage a coup. If he can truncate democracy in Nigeria, in a state in Nigeria, then what right does he have to query somebody who truncates democracy in his country? And so it's not going to be a local matter anymore. This matter will go up. Will go up to the international community and let the world judge it.
Are they doing something to make sure that happens? Since
Nigerians, whatever.
Always for the vigilance, not for the.
Let me tell you something. River State is a very sensitive state. River State is an international state. You have the international seaport. You have international airport. The oil activities are here. The gas activities are here. These are the energy that controls the world. And so, people are watching what's going on here, particularly in Niger Delta. And you think River State matter is only River State matter? It's a matter of the Niger Delta. River State belongs to an ethnic group which is the fourth largest ethnic group in Nigeria, the Ijaw people. And so, it's a complex state that we need to handle with carefulness. You need to tread carefully. You don't just do it anyhow. We have the southeast boiling. They have not been able to quell it. If River State joined it, what do we expect? We have the north, northwest, northeast that has not been quiet, north central. The country is not stable. Mr. President should think of how to stabilize this country and not to trigger problems. What he's doing now is to trigger problems by telling Rivers people that they are no longer part of Nigeria. By removing them from Nigerian democracy and put them under a military rule against the constitution. It's not right. Therefore, my appeal is to Mr. President, let him know that this country is ruled by law. The constitution is a fulcrum, and what he has done is contrary to section 1(2) of the constitution. No other means can run a state or any part of Nigeria except the democratically means that is prescribed in the Constitution. Only elected people can become governors. Only elected people can become local government chairmen. And it's these institutions that have power to appoint other institutions and not a military dictator. You are bringing a military in River State. Tomorrow you bring military in other states. And what are you trying to do? We don't want military to take over Nigeria. We have suffered enough for military rule. We wanted democracy, and democracy must prevail. We stand for democracy, and we must support democracy. So, Mr. President, whatever you do, know that there is another government ahead of you. You are the president of Nigeria. You are not the United Nations. You are the president of Nigeria. You are not African Union president. Know that ICC is watching. And when the crisis comes up, we have governors, president in West African countries that are languishing in prison. We have several presidents in the world who are in prison today because of genocide. So if you want to commit genocide, thinking that it's Nigeria, it cannot end in Nigeria. International laws are there, and they must hold you accountable. So we don't want this situation to escalate to that point. That is why we are asking Mr. President to use wisdom as quick as possible. We are asking the Yoruba nation to prevail on their son. The Fere, it may not listen to the Fere, but the Obas of the Yoruba kingdom should prevail on their son. Because what he's trying to do will happen to Lagos State one day. He will not be president forever. But once some other president comes in and also suspend the governor of Lagos State or the governor of other Yoruba states, and nothing happens. If nothing happens now, nothing will happen. Is that when we will react? We must do what is right at all times. And that's what we stand for. And that is why High Chief Saraj will stand for justice.